So who are the top three?
Hit the button.
Hit the button. Oh, wait. No, that's Friday night's a great night for football. Eric
Ayomanor would be 1. Tre Tucker would be 2, and Hunter Henry would be 3.
Okay, Eli Ayomanor, Tre Tucker with this great matchup this week against the Bears. Ayomanor gets the Texans, who may not have Derek Stingley, and Hunter Henry. One of the things I guess I didn't realize about Hunter Henry, and I'm sorry about this, is that he had one bad game, and Drake May only threw 23 passes in that game. So May has thrown 36 or more in the other 2 games, and Henry's been very good. So it's an interesting. It's not like the greatest top 3 ever, but Eli Ayomanor, Tre Tucker, Hunter Henry. Dave, how about you?
Well, when you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you do?
I pee.
He sits when he pees.
I pee.
No, you need to go to your waiver wire and just double check if Trey Benson's available. And you need to do it in all of your leagues. And on CBS, he's already rostered in like 80% of leagues. But there are some leagues out there, especially on Yahoo and ESPN, where he's available in like 50% of the leagues. There are leagues that I am in. He is a free agent. And so I intend to spend the fab, do what I have to do to get Trey Benson on my squad. That's an easy one. So the first thing you do, and you should have done when you woke up this morning, was check to see if Trey Benson was available. That being said, the top 3, if you can't get Benson, Ayomanor is number 1. Tre Tucker is number 2. I put Rashid Shaheed number 3. 3 receivers, because I'm not ready to trust Hunter Henry. I guess if you need a tight end, of course he's a priority. But I'd go with those 3 receivers as my top 3.
Okay, so you guys agree on Ayomanor and Tre Tucker, and then Dave has Rashid Shaheed as his 3rd priority. Jamey has Hunter Henry. No quarterbacks listed in the top 3, but there are some decent options, including Geno Smith this week. By the way, Trey Benson is 60% rostered on Sleeper. So between Sleeper, ESPN, and Yahoo, Trey Benson is no more than 60% rostered in any of those leagues. He is a slam dunk layup. Now, in those, a slam dunk layup doesn't really make sense. That's 2 different things. He's a windmill tomahawk jam. Now, I mentioned 3 other guys that could be available in shallower league.
The best windmill dunker of all time.
The best windmill dunker of all time?
Yes, very easy.
I mean, my first thought was Neek.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basketball guy right here.
I don't know if this guy's ever done a windmill dunk, but I was going to say Sean Kemp.
He probably has.
I feel like he's done some. He was a great dunker. Chris Godwin, Jordan Addison, Jake Ferguson. If you saw them, are they all must-adds?
Addison's roster percentage?
Addison's 89. He's the highest by far. Godwin's 82 and Ferguson's 86%.
And I'm not disagreeing with you, but if he's available, but I usually just for the column, I go like 80, right around 80% or lower. So
Addison on Sleeper is 81% rostered. I just wanted to knock these 3 guys out. Do you think that they're all guys who should be close to 100% rostered? Chris Godwin, Jordan Addison, and Jake Ferguson?
Yep.
I mean, Ferguson should have been from the start of the season. So after what he's done so far, 100%. Godwin, yes. And Addison, yes. I would rank them at this point, though. Ferguson, Godwin, Addison.
I'd flip the receivers.
Ferguson, Addison, Godwin. Okay, for Dave. Ferguson, Godwin, Addison for Jamey, but Trey Benson is the prize. Okay, so with Ayomanor and Tre Tucker, are we thinking these are long-term guys, or these are just take a shot?
I think with Ayomanor, there's Ayomanor.
What's up with you?
Yeah, I don't know. It's early. I would say that he is long-term. You're kind of picking him up. You're going to see what happens. He's a solid receiver who's getting a lot of playing time and scoring some touchdowns for Tennessee. It's not like he's this amazing talent. It's just a great opportunity. But I think that Tennessee is going to be throwing in a bunch of games. Calvin Ridley hasn't done bupkis. So Ayomanor's got the opportunity to go and be potentially the best pass catcher for the Titans. That's why you're picking him up. Tucker's been around for 3 years, and he's had a big play 1 week, and then like 3 straight weeks after that, he's been terrible. And I do like that he had 2 red zone touchdowns last week against Washington, but just the track record makes me a little skittish on being so excited about him. He's more of a short-term ad maybe you'll start him over one. Certainly next week against Chicago, it's a great matchup. But next couple of weeks, maybe as a bye week replacement, maybe as a low end flex, that's kind of the range that Tucker would be in for me.
And your thoughts, Jamey? Just, let's compare Ayomanor and Tucker to some of the other waiver wire guys that we've picked up recently. So Wan'Dale Robinson, Cedric Tillman, Dontavian Wicks. I don't remember some of the big names I might be missing here, but Troy Franklin, how do we feel about Ayomanor and Tucker compared to that group?
So there's a reason, if you go back and look, and I hope I've done a good job of this, and I hope fantasy managers have done a good job of doing this in their ad drops. Like, these are not guys you spend a lot of fab on. These are guys you take chances on to see what develops. I think in the case of Ayomanor, you're looking long-term more so than short-term, because you really want to see what this offense looks like, because there's going to be good games for Calvin Ridley coming at some point. And hopefully he won't be dropping the ball and struggling like this the rest of the season. But you see the rapport that's developed between the two rookies at quarterback and wide receiver. And who is he trusting at this point? And he's trusting Ayomanor. Like, the touchdown that he had was such a great play by Cam Ward to know that he was going to be in the spot on a guy going across his body, into the end zone. And he's now 3 straight games of just things that you're seeing. The first game wasn't great from a statistical standpoint, but getting open and routes run and all these things that we sort of look for, he's doing that right out of the gate. And so you hope that this is just the building block. For Tucker, this is the week to see what he is, because it's 2 straight weeks of 8+ targets. So clearly Geno Smith is looking for him. Clearly this is a guy that they're trying to get going. One week it was an absolute failure against the Chargers. One week it was the best game of his life in the comeback effort, or garbage time, however you want to frame it, against the Commanders. And so now he gets the Bears. If he does this again, I'm not talking about 145 and 3, I'm talking about 8+ targets, then he's going to have some long-standing potential. But I don't think he's anything more, at least right now, than a number 3 receiver at best. And can you trust him? So which Tre Tucker shows up? Like Dave said, we have 3 years of this. Really, though, it's 3 games of this, because it's Geno Smith and Chip Kelly and this offense, and what this is allowing him to do. So I don't want to spend a lot of fab on any of these guys at wide receiver, from Wan'Dale last week to Troy Franklin last week to Dontavian Wicks and all these guys. Like, these are not anything more. Like, at most, I think I've said maybe 10% of your fab, and that was probably stretching it.
I also think it's really 2 games with Tre Tucker, because I think there's a clear difference in the Raiders offense since the Brock Bowers knee injury. And
fair point. Yeah.
We talked about it on Beyond the Box Score. We kind of feel like the injury is a big deal here for Brock Bowers. It just doesn't seem to be moving the same way. And you just think about, he had over 100 yards in 3 quarters in the first game, and then he hurt his knee and hasn't been the same. So we don't know, obviously, when he's going to get back to being himself. But while he is not himself, Tre Tucker appears to be picking up the slack. Would you drop Wan'Dale Robinson for Ayomanor or Tucker?
I think if you do, you're coming back to him in a week or 2, because that's just the type of player that he is. So I would probably just hold on to Wan'Dale, but it depends. If you're looking for the most upside, clearly Tucker and Ayomanor, I think, have more upside than Wan'Dale, even despite the fact that what he did in week 2, because that's just not who he is, on an annual basis. And we may have a quarterback change that could help him or hurt him, based on what Brian Daboll said on Monday, that we could be looking at Jackson Dart starting. So maybe it's great for Wan'Dale. I would probably just hold tight unless you really want to, see if you can get him for next to nothing. I wouldn't be spending $10 of your fab here, $10 of your fab there. Like, you're just chasing and wasting money.
Right. So yes, by the way, we talked about Trey Benson, for those of you asking in the chat. Pick him up. But it might not be Jackson Dart, by the way. They haven't specifically said it would be. We think so. But it's possible they would go to Jameis Winston, which would that be fun temporarily.